I like things my way. My coffee, my schedule, and my treatment. So I talked to my doctor about self-injecting with the Vyvgart Hytrulo pre-filled syringe, which contains efgartigimod alpha and hyaluronidase QVFC. It's injected under your skin, subcutaneously. It means I can inject in my space, on my time. It's my treatment, my way. Visit VyvgartMyWay.com. That's VYVGART MyWay.com. And talk to your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo. Brought to you by Argenix.
I'm here on a job site with Tim, who owns his own electrical contracting business.
3 employees and 2 work trucks.
Tim traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance. We're positively here where he needs us most.
They sure are.
With step-by-step help on all his insurance needs, all for shockingly low rates.
Shockingly low, huh?
It's just a little bit of electrician humour. Do you get it?
I got it.
You know, it feels like we have a real connection. All right, I'll stop.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
Hey there, fictional friends, and welcome to another episode of Fully Booked. I'm Megan.
And I'm Shereen.
And it's Wicked Week, in case you've never been on the internet in your life and you didn't know.
No one mourns the wicked.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I mentioned it earlier this month, right? Obviously, when Wicked Part 1 came out last year, around this time, we went to see it. And so with the sequel coming around this year, obviously we figured we would close the loop, I guess, and go see Part 2. I feel like I have to preface this with many things. So I remember that when we saw Part 1, we were both like, it was good.
Yeah.
It was well done.
Yeah.
Everything sounded good. It looked great.
Costumes are nice.
It was beautiful.
Sets are gorgeous.
Everybody sounds fantastic. But we were also like, it was good, but it wasn't like...
I don't need to change my entire personality around this movie good.
And, you know, I just feel like I need to start with that because there is something really intense about the fan base for these films.
Yeah.
That I know part of it's coming from the fan base from the musical and everything, which I can understand. But, but also just, you know... I just want to preface this by saying that I'm not spending my time shitting on specific people or specific instances of this. It's just like, we're going to have a conversation about it, talk about some things, and be honest about our feelings about that.
Yeah, as two people who are like kind of not super invested in this.
True. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And kind of like chat about like what our actual feelings were and like what we did enjoy and what we didn't enjoy from this sort of second, very expanded part of this. I'm going to preface this with a very large spoiler warning. I shouldn't have to, but like obviously we're going to talk about plot points. We're going to talk about characters. We're going to talk about things like differences and stuff a little bit as well. So you are forewarned. If you are here, there will be spoilers, or just pause and come back later.
Spoilers. Yeah, go watch the movie and then come back.
And then come back and listen. Yeah. Okay. You know what? Just give me your give me like your initial feelings about this now that you've seen both parts.
Yeah, so I mean, I have not read the book. You have read the book.
Yeah, got it.
And
a long time.
I have seen the Broadway play.
Correct.
And I think from my perspective, the Broadway play, the most memorable part of it is basically the first half of Wicked that they've released, right? Yeah. When the second one was coming out, like as we were going into the movie theater, I even said to you, I'm like, I genuinely don't even remember what this half is about.
I know.
Like I cannot. And it's because this is based on like 25 minutes of the Broadway show, which makes sense. So, you know, I like first reactions. It's like we said, I enjoyed the first movie. I thought that visually it was like really fun. I was very impressed at the costumes as always, especially in this second one. I found the costumes were even more beautiful.
They were lovely.
Because they focus so much on Glinda in this one. And she's got a lot of different costumes in this one. But I think that, you know, because we've seen a first half of this already with the sets and the costumes and this and that, the wow factor was already taken care of there. So in the second one, it's like, yes, it's still wow.
Yeah, it looks great.
but it's the same wow from the first one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I am having a little bit of an internal struggle to a degree because then again, as having read the book, having watched the stage play, and I have seen multiple musical theater folks online, even be honest and talk about the fact that even the stage musical itself does have a much weaker second act than its first act. There are many unanswered questions in the play as well that unfortunately also do translate to the movie, despite the fact that the movie is so much longer.
Which makes no sense.
You'd think they would have wrapped it up a little bit better, but they do certain things, and they do touch on certain things a little bit more than they get to in the musical, of course. But at the same time, I still found myself kind of being like, okay, and now I understand that we got the intro to everybody and everything that's going on in part one.
Yeah.
However, at the core of the story that Gregory Maguire wrote as well, it's Wicked, the life and times of the Wicked Witch of the West. And
right.
So the story is about Elphaba.
Right.
However, we left this movie and I was like, why was Glinda the main character of part two?
Oh, she definitely was. Like the amount of times that they zoomed in on Ariana Grande and she was the sole focus and it was all about her, which, okay, fine. Let's put a pin in that for a second.
Yeah. Before Ariana Grande fans fucking freak out, I'm not saying I hate her.
Nothing against her.
Jesus.
Nothing against her. No comment. All I'm saying is from a plot and a direction choice. I just feel that if that was the way that we were going to go, we could have expanded on a lot more, or we could have had Glinda, you could have filled in the gaps a little bit more, because we know that Glinda is the good witch. We know that she's friends with Elphaba. So as we know these two facts to be true, as we get back to the Land of Oz and the Emerald City, we see that Glinda is kind of I thought they were going to go the route of her being a bit of a caged bird. Okay. They've kind of forced her to be there and she has no choice because she wants to do what's right for the people of Oz. I genuinely thought that's where they were going to go with it.
It sure seemed that way at the beginning.
Yeah. And then they go into the duet or the song they have with the wizard.
And you're like...
And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay, so Glinda is exactly the same character as the last movie. She has not developed at all behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so we're here for her character development. But at this point, I remember I looked at my watch and I was like, we've been sat here for an hour and a half almost.
There's another hour left.
There's at least another hour left. And I'm like, she still hasn't started to kind of start fighting the man a little bit here, you know?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I've been nodding this entire time.
Yes.
You've been talking and nobody can see me, but that's what I've been doing. I don't know. I'm not really sure, what that sort of skewed direction kind of was that they decided to take, if it's simply a question of, how popular Ariana Grande is.
Yeah.
And how big of a fan base that she has. Yeah. Those were other things. So these are a couple of things to, I guess, kind of note. This second act has 2 original songs that were created for the film that are not in the musical.
Okay.
One is There's No Place Like Home.
Oh, yes.
That Elphaba sings, which personally I quite liked. I thought it
was
good.
Really good, yeah.
And I said this to you after, too, when we were talking. I mean, Cynthia Erivo has a very Broadway voice, a very musical theater voice.
Yeah.
And I love it because she has this really lovely cadence when she sings, where she hits all sorts of really beautiful levels that are very kind of, I don't know, emotionally charged almost while she's doing it. She can do runs, she can do all kinds of things, but she doesn't sound like a pop singer in the traditional sense. And I really like that because it suits something like this. Many Broadway singers don't necessarily sound like pop singers.
No. Well, because that's not if you're on Broadway.
That's not what they're trained for.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's not what that's not what they train for. Anyway, whatever. So I really like the, sort of the way that she sounds as this particular character. So she sings that. And then later on in the film, Glinda also has a new song, which is Girl in the Bubble, that she sings, which personally I was like, what is this song?
Yeah.
It was like a little reason for Ariana Grande to sing with a high-pitched voice.
Yes.
And hit like the sort of operatic notes that she's able to hit because she has such a good range.
She does, which she
really
doesn't get to
range.
always explore in her own music.
No, correct. So it gives her the opportunity to kind of do that. But personally, I was like, okay, I don't know if I needed a song for us to get to this point, but sure, whatever, fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, I found they were fine, but they were just additions that were there, which again pad the runtime because apparently that's what we're doing now.
Which sucks because they could have done so much. So like if you think about like plot, character, themes, you know, like let's look at it from a literary standpoint, if you will. For this movie, I was like ready to see expansion on not only the plot, so, you know, talking about what's going on behind the doors, behind the scenes with Glinda.
Yeah.
We saw a bit of what Elphaba was up to, which makes sense,
obviously.
You know? But I wanted more about, so we got a glimpse of Bach turning into the Tin Man.
Yeah.
And kind of the run up to that.
And honestly, a very strong performance from Ethan Slater in this part. Because, like, to be fair, he's like a goofy throwaway character in part one. And I get that he's kind of supposed to be, but genuinely, like, first, I mean, I know that Ethan Slater's a Broadway actor, so obviously he sounded good in the, like, the singing bits that he did have, but also the level of anger that he hits a few times after he becomes the Tin Man, I was like, oh, range, wow, look at that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which I don't think I guess I was pleasantly surprised because I wasn't expecting it.
No, he was really good. Like, he really supercharged that character with anger.
That I almost wanted to see more of it, and I
wanted to see more of it.
And then he disappeared and never came back.
Right. Like, he gave, like, a monologue about how the witch has to be killed and, like, we gotta
he had
get rid
that
of her.
Beautiful, like, eye contact with Glinda in, like, at the palace, like, in, like, the courtyard that he's standing in. And I was like, oh, I wanted a thing. I wanted a scene between them, basically.
Yes. I want her to realize that it's Bach and I want her to go, like, do something.
To be like, oh, shit. And to have him be like, this is your fault.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted that. I wanted that to happen. I wanted, if we were going to hit that level of anger, I wanted it directed at someone.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then the Cowardly Lion, like, we saw, like, the beginning of that in the first part.
Also, none of that made sense.
No!
She
I was
saves
just
him.
gonna say!
They say it, like, 17 times. She's like, I saved you from the cage that you were afraid in. Both of us did a rewatch of part one before we went to see this because we were, like, this past week, because we were like, okay. It was 2.5 hours long. It was a year ago. It was a little bit boring. I don't remember it. So, we rewatched it. Yeah. We rewatched it and we were like, and I remember like looking at that and I was like, oh, the poor little lion that they saved. Yeah. And they saved the lion. Nobody traumatizes that lion. No one does anything to him. What the fuck is wrong with that character? It doesn't make sense.
I go back to the plot. There are holes in the plot. Like, you couldn't have spent 5 minutes like expanding on this lion, on how he became cowardly.
Yeah, the whole thing is like a big block of Swiss cheese. I feel like I'm gonna fall through the little bits that I'm walking on.
Well, this is it. So that, and then the Scarecrow, the Fiero. And like, we don't see him transform. We see like some like little.
We have
a bit of a montage.
Big idea. Okay, this is also so funny. I love that, and I understand that but I feel like it's more particularly the stage musical. They tried to toe the line in part 2 of the film a little bit with like making it darker, a little bit, because like the novel is for adults,
right?
This is not a children's story.
Oh yes,
it's
I remember they had quite an issue with that last year when the first movie came out. Because I think a lot of kids were rocking into the bookstores and they were getting complaints.
Just everybody keep in mind, like, it's not just like the mom at the beginning. Like, people have affairs. They have illegitimate children. Multiple characters have illegitimate children in the novel. Their characters are, I mean, you do see it a little bit in the movie, but characters in the novel, major characters, are killed and stuff. Again, spoilers, just in case you don't want to know this, but like part of the way through, like the early parts of the book, Madame Morrible is really the one running everything. And I know she kind of is, but in the book, she really is. And really Elphaba is suspicious of her immediately. She doesn't like her.
Oh, right. Not like they portrayed in the movie. Yeah.
And Madame Morrible's the one running all of the anti-animal stuff that's going on, and
not
the
the
sentiment.
wizard.
No, and she has Dr. Dillerman killed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
like earlier on in the book. And from what I'm trying to remember for sure, but if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry if I'm getting this wrong, I believe that, I don't remember if it's Madame Morrible or for whatever happens, and I don't remember what the circumstances are, but Fiyero is killed.
Oh, really?
As well, later on.
So then who's the Scarecrow in the book?
Well, that's not a thing.
Oh, right,
Sorry.
okay.
That's not a thing. So the invention of Bach becoming the Tin Man because Nessa says he has no heart, and Fiyero becoming the Scarecrow because he has this whole, like, I just run through life and I'm so stupid.
Yeah.
Kind of, like, persona
if I only
that
had
he
a brain.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That was made up for the musical. Stephen Schwartz made that decision to tie things together.
I see.
In the musical, that's not a thing in the book.
I see.
As far as I remember, I don't remember that being a thing at all.
Okay. See, because this is where I was a little not confused, but like that again, your holy Swiss cheese here.
Yeah.
The lion has like a very loose tie to the story.
Very much, yeah.
You know, you just kind of see him for a second. Bach is very much in the story.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And then he becomes the Tin Man.
Yeah.
So Fiyero becoming the Scarecrow is like kind of your third character where it's like, are we invested in these characters or are we not? Because if he's not Fiyero, then we don't really care. It's just Bach who's tied to them.
And then it's less interesting.
Right. But then you've got Fiyero. So yeah, I felt like they could have done the reveal a bit earlier about Fiyero. They only show him in the last 3 to 5 minutes.
I don't remember perfectly because I've seen the musical one time.
Yeah.
I don't remember perfectly, but I do feel like you're given a better indication in the musical that Fiyero became the Scarecrow. The only indication you're given in the film before the reveal happens is that he's been put up on like a cross in a cornfield. You know, like a scarecrow is basically, right? So, and that's like the only indication, and we get it, okay? But also, this is what I find so funny about this too, and I really wonder if like some of the really intense parents are going to get all mad about part 2. One, because characters have sex in this movie, and 2, because I love everybody's like, it's a movie for families. I'm like, I mean, those two hook up, and it's clear that they've done so. Yeah. And Fiyero dies, essentially. It's only Elphaba's spell that manages to circumvent the actual death portion, and
but he's basically dead.
Yes. He's basically reanimated.
Yes.
She reanimates him, and that's why he becomes the Scarecrow. Like, that's what she does to save him. It's the only way she can. And it's the same thing with Bach, because Nessa messes up the spell.
Yeah. And actually
starts to shrink his heart and remove it, basically. So Elphaba does anything that she can to keep him from basically dying completely. And unfortunately, in doing so, the only way that it works is that she manages to transform him into something that he's not anymore. So anyway, yeah. So it's just so all of that is interesting, and it's cool that they had done that for the musical in the first place. But it's true that like I guess it would have been nicer to have a clearer indication about the Scarecrow portion of things ahead of time.
And like in terms of like, you know, again, I go back to Elphaba as a character. Yeah. And like she's the Wicked Witch of the West. But realistically, what has she actually done that's bad?
I know.
She keeps reading from her grimoire that's like, it's a 50-50 chance that the spell's going to be good or not. And that's not on her.
Also, like, not a thing in the book. She doesn't find the grimoire for a long time. She doesn't get it from the wizard. She finds it somewhere, like, by happenstance. Okay. And stuff. There's a lot of that's, like, very different. That, again, I get for plot purposes and stuff. I do get that they would have done it the way that they did it for the musical in the first place. So I do understand that. But yeah, a lot of that is vastly changed.
Yeah, I mean, like, genuinely, her evilness is basically that she just transforms people into other characters or creatures.
You know, and I do, like, there are bits that I do appreciate about some of the expanding that they did in this, in the sense that, like, in the musical, they do the whole thing where they're like, the animals are being persecuted. Yeah. We should do something about that. But then after Act 2 starts, they mention it like once, and then it never comes back again in the musical. Whereas at least in this, there was a through line.
Well, it's true because when I was watching the movie, I was like, oh, like the animals are actually a big part of the story here, whereas
they didn't feel like they were in
no,
the
not at
musical.
all, not in the stage play.
I agree.
But
so like that's good, and like you
Yeah.
know, I can appreciate like that part of things. I can appreciate that through line and stuff, and like you know that again, like they did keep like consistency with certain aspects of things, like obviously that, you know, no, Fiyero doesn't really have feelings for Glinda. He's in love with Elphaba. Like we know what that whole part of the storyline is, and that's what we already know it. Like we know it ahead of time, but we get confirmation of it obviously when he saves her, leaves with her, and then they sing As Long As You're Mine.
Yes.
Which like also that was a great duet.
Oh yeah.
So good. Oh, so good.
Oh,
I was like, whoa, romantic tension.
Oh, yeah.
He was like taking off his suspenders. I was like, whoa, is it hot in here?
I know, yeah. I just leaned over. I'm like, he is a fine man.
Everybody knows because he was voted People's Sexiest Man Alive.
I laughed so hard. Did you see the interview where he was apparently like with his friends or something?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh my God, like I'm sexiest man alive. And they were like, sure you are.
Yeah.
Sure you are.
Sure, buddy.
Sure, buddy. Whatever.
Whatever
You
you
keep telling
say.
yourself that.
But we're all, so basically the entire world is in agreement, which is fine.
Oh, yeah.
It's
It is
completely
fine.
understandable. Yeah, no, that was a really good duet.
Yeah.
Which was good because it's a great, that one's a good song. I like that one.
And then if we go to like themes, so obviously big theme in this is, you know, friendship.
Yeah.
And then like women empowering other women. There was a lot I felt there was like this whole scene, I can't remember if it's with the wizard, yes it is, where he's singing with the two of them and he's trying to convince Elphaba to come back over to his side.
Yeah.
It really felt very Trump charged.
Oh gosh, yeah.
The way he was like behaving.
Yeah, very much. It was, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, it worked very well.
It did.
And I mean, for the wizard character, that does make sense as well because that's kind of what he's like. So,
Right.
he's a big fat fraud, and that's
He
sort
is
of what it
big
is.
liar.
Yes.
But yeah, there was a few comments not comments, but like lines in the movie where it was just kind of like, oh well, the truth is, you know, it's never really facts. Like it's just what people believe,
Yeah.
and it's like,
And you were like, oh no, stop it. This
I
is
know,
like,
oh,
pointing
this
a
is
mirror.
too hard
I don't
to
like
listen to.
Yeah.
But it was interesting that he used that. Kind of. I felt that that's what he was doing. Because, you know, when you think about like women, female empowerment, you know, friendship, it's kind of like this is what we're trying to break free of. The other thing that was really irking me in this movie was that, like, you know, when she sings There's No Place Like Home,
Yes.
and her whole thing is like, we have to fight because they want to cast us out because
Yeah.
we're different, and we have to fight because it's our home. I'm like, this is really sounding like the United States right now.
I mean, kind of.
And, like,
it's, you know, there's certain themes and stuff that overlap with things because obviously they're culturally relevant as well, which does make sense.
they are, but I'm like, how long do we need to be watching movies and reading books about the odd man out having to fight and do the right thing?
Well, that's the theme of so many things.
and I'm
in
just
so
like,
many
I'm
places,
so
too.
tired of it.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of it.
That might be part of why it's like a little bit tiring to watch these as well,
Yeah.
is because you're like, yes, we know it's always like the weirdo who has to push
Stand
back,
up for what's right
Yes.
and fight for the little guy. I'm
push
like,
back against the oppressors and all of that stuff, and it's fine, but it's also been done. So I don't consider this anything very revolutionary in terms of the themes that it's
No.
tackling particularly.
But it's also that I'm just exhausted of watching this go down on screen and everybody to collectively cheer for the weirdo who's going to save the day.
Yeah.
But when it comes to our reality, we don't want the weirdos to save the days. We want to just keep oppressing them as much as possible. I'm like, where's the gap? Why don't we learn, people, you know? Like, anyway, I digress.
Anyway, I guess I'm trying to think of a couple of other things specifically just to like get towards the end of it. I have seen some criticism of this, and I will unfortunately have to agree. I think that Michelle Yeoh is wonderful, but I do not understand why you are casting people in these films who can't sing. Don't do it. Stop.
But also Jeff
Goldblum and
can't-
Michelle Yeoh are both wonderful actors.
They are.
They're great, and they do play the characters
do.
well, but it makes my eye twitch to be watching something that is also filled with, including background characters who are incredibly vocally talented and have people in these very, very high roles within these films who should be expected to. Now, I did double check this to confirm there are entire portions of songs that Madame Morrible is supposed to sing that they cut because she can't sing.
Yeah, like this
And I'm not saying that. I don't care. I can't sing.
No, I can't either. But I think the point is that they made a choice.
It doesn't always have to be a big name.
Yeah, well, this is it.
Guys.
That's the thing, right?
Like, Ariana Grande is a massive name, but she can sing.
Well, this is it, you know, and like, it makes you wonder, did they have to get these big names in to draw up a crowd? I don't think so. I think it would have. I think it would have.
You could have gotten someone else to do it, and they would have been good at it as well.
Yeah, and like as an actress in the role of Madame Morrible, like I found that she did a great job.
Agreed.
She did a fantastic job. But yeah, the songs, it sucks that she wasn't able to sing, and they had to cut a whole big portion of it out.
They had to cut like whole big portions of it because she's really just talking through her bits.
She is, and like also
stuff.
the wizard, like
also not great. I do feel like he tried a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Either they forced him to, or he actually was like, I'm gonna try. I don't know. He did try a little bit more, but again, it's one of those things where you're like, why couldn't we just find someone who can do
sing.
both? There are actually quite a few people, I'm sure, who could have done both.
Yes.
So it is too bad, I find, when that happens. I don't know why that's a choice that's made on a semi-regular basis, and this is not the only musical adaptation in which that's occurred, and you're kind of like...
Yeah, like it, again, like it kind of excludes people who would have been perfect for the roles.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah, and very much carried it vocally so that you could have had all of their musical components added for these characters, right? So... Yeah.
What I really found interesting or not interesting, I don't know how you want to take this, is again going back to these like plot holes when they had so much time to play with this, is like they needed an evil character and they needed a good character. Yeah. But I still don't understand why. Why did you have to have an evil Wicked Witch of the West? Like, why did she have to die as the evil person? Like, you know, okay, think about like the Dark Knight. Yeah. You know, like, he's not the hero they need Gotham or whatever.
He's the one that they need.
You know, like, so it's like he's the bad guy. He's the scapegoat or whatever. Yeah. Which I guess in that context makes sense because they needed Harvey Dent to be the good guy, but he wasn't anymore.
No, he wasn't anymore, yeah.
But in this case, you're like, but neither of them are bad.
No, they're not. But unfortunately, again, I do feel like to a degree, this is also a little bit of reflection on life. And I'm not saying like in reality, take yourself out of that. But we do things like we watch reality TV shows. There has to be a villain.
Always.
There has to be a villain. They have to villainize at least one person when you're watching it. You have to have one person be shitty and the other person be good. This is a stupid thing to talk about, but this happens on Love is Blind all the time. Where you'll have and like especially like in certain couples that like people that couple up, you'll have one who's the asshole and one who's like the nice person, or one who's the good person and one who's the bad person. And I think the problem is that people have trouble sometimes understanding that two things can be true at once. It's difficult for us, right? We want a good guy and we want a bad guy. And we want things to be black and white, but they're not.
But they're not. And everything's gray.
Yes. And so then it becomes really difficult sometimes when we, you know, are like watching something and you're like seeing something like that where you think like, oh, this person's the shitty one. Yeah. But then either the other person will do something terrible or something will come out about them later and you'll find out like, wow, they're actually awful. Yeah. And people have a lot of trouble with that. Yep. And I think that that's something even just thematically that this is also touching on, which I do kind of understand it because it feels a little bit more true to life. Like we want a hero and we want a villain. That's just what society's like.
It is, and it's how we've kind of drawn things up, but it's just interesting that even now, like, we're seeing, like, okay, we need the bad guy, we need the villain, and you're right, like, more than ever, it seems like we're like our media is kind of pushing that quite a bit. And then you see it in a movie like Wicked, which is good because then you realize that maybe the bad guy isn't really the bad guy, and maybe the good guy isn't purely good all the time.
The good guy all the time, because that's just not the way that life
No,
works.
it doesn't.
People make mistakes. People do things that they are and are not supposed to. And just two things can be true at once.
Correct.
Two things can be true at once.
Yeah.
Yes. That's it. I don't even know what other like real takeaways we've got from this. So at the moment, at the time that we're recording this, which is like the day after it comes out, scores right now are 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb. Tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes is at 70%, which I feel lives more in the range with like the critics and stuff that makes more sense.
Right.
The popcorn meter for the audience score is at 95%, which I'm like, okay, we've all just flooded it with overly positive reviews. I'm sorry. Everybody's acting like these are like groundbreaking films.
Yeah.
They're not. They're good. Like they're well made. But there are, as we just talked about a little bit, in our opinion, multiple plot holes in them. Yes. And many points of like expansion and things that did not need to be included.
And like other points that could have been expanded on more. Like I wanted to see more about the characters personally.
Yep. Yeah, I think that would have been more interesting for us to be able to see some of the side characters that were introduced, for us to be able to like see a little bit more about them as time goes on and not have them drop off so much. I think what I really wanted, actually, more than anything, would have actually seen, not in like two scenes, but to have seen a transition for Nessa Rose to actually be the Wicked Witch of the East. Like they just shoehorn that shit in and you're like, guys.
I know. You're just like she says it and I'm like, cool.
And you're like, cool. You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Like,
also I wanted them to do more with the stuff like, anyway, even if they had done like more of like the book stuff with it, or I think even in the musical, technically the whole thing that Elphaba does for Nessa Rose, where she like gives her the ability to float, or whatever to do it, she gives her the ability to walk.
Okay,
so
the musical. This is the problem,
and I'm like, right,
like they don't actually like expand on this. Her slippers glow red when Nessa's wearing them, but then they don't stay red to white,
including on Dorothy.
Which
so you're like, really, we're negating the ruby red slippers from The Wizard of Oz?
I know. I'm like, that was a choice.
Those are one of the most iconic pieces of costume in cinema, and we're ignoring the fact that they were red. Okay.
Yes. And again, like maybe it was a choice because they're saying that this isn't The Wizard of Oz and it's not about Dorothy. But really, the ruby red slippers, really?
Yeah, I still think they're a big component in the book as well. They're referenced multiple times. The father, I believe, it's the father that gifts them to Nessa Rose.
Right.
And Elphaba has like a fixation
on the
with
shoes?
them. Yes, she wants them.
But the way that they show it in the movie is that it's her last thing that she could remember her sister by. And then she kind of gets over it. I will say, probably the moment I enjoyed the most in this movie was when they were having a fight. Glinda and Elphaba, and they're having like a fist fight, kind of. Like, it was funny.
It was funny. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know. It was funny.
It's exactly how you would fight with your best friend if you, for some reason, were somehow driven to physical violence, which would be insane.
Yes. That's what it would look like.
I've never had anybody tell me that they had like a fist fight with their best friend. That seems nuts. But like, if you ever got to that point, what are you doing? Yeah. Well, like, it would very much be what would happen if Shereen and all her 5-foot glory decided to start, like, slapping at me. I'd be like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Just come here. Use your fist.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The thumb goes on the outside. Anyway, yeah, look, all of this, and also, like, the press and all of that shit has just turned this into, like, some really, like, bizarre amalgamation of like a codependent relationship.
Oh, it's turned weird.
That's really strange that I'm, not a fan of either. So I'm just like, I have nothing to comment on in terms of that shit. I have no idea what's going on. I don't really care because it has nothing to do with me and my life, like whatever. It's overly shoved into my face. So I'm actually irritated with it now.
Fair.
I'm irritated with all the comments about the way that people look. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but please stop talking about it. You're just making it worse. all of that stuff.
Leave Ariana alone.
I'm like, none of this is helping. This isn't helping anything. Please shut up. So whatever. It was a movie. It was a movie. It was fine. It looked good. Was it the worst movie I've ever seen? No. Was it the best movie? Not even close.
No. Yep, that's it.
Yep.
It was visually very enjoyable.
Beautiful.
It was like if you were gonna make a big candy buffet.
Pretty much.
In a movie.
Yeah, and be like, make that into a musical. You'd be like, okay, that's what it would look like.
That's what it would look like.
Yeah.
It was great for that. Mm-hmm. But after like going to see like something like Frankenstein on the big screen, and then
really different,
very different vibes,
very different visuals. That's for sure.
For sure,
and just as beautiful in very different ways.
Indeed.
Yeah. Anyway, that's just kind of like thoughts and feelings, I guess, that we're having about it, like less than 24 hours after watching it. I mean, really, like it's gonna do insanely well. We know this.
Oh yeah.
Because people are pretty feral about this franchise at this point.
It's gonna get Oscar nominations.
Maybe. It didn't get very many last time.
It did. It got loads. They got Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo.
Oh, did they both
nominated?
I don't remember that
at
all.
They had Best Picture, Best Visuals, Best Costumes, Best Adaptation. They had loads of stuff.
Oh, I guess we'll see. I don't know. The critic rating is like, critics are actually being honest about their opinions about it, which I respect. I think that's good. And I also think that if, like, we know that this is going to do insanely well, and if you love it, you love it. So I feel like if a critic writes something slightly poorer about the film, you don't have to attack them on a personal level. That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know why we have to get so personal with people.
It's really strange.
It's just, it's exhausting.
It's really weird. Don't do that. It's really strange.
Don't invest so much of yourself in this shit.
God, seriously.
It's just a movie,
It's a movie. Yeah, that's it. It doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Good, great. We did it. We talked about it. I'm actually kind of done talking about this franchise now because it's been shoved in my face for the past year since the first one came out, and I don't really want to see it or talk about it anymore because I'm over it now. You
don't want to bake mystery cupcakes and eat mystery cake pops. And
thank you.
I'm Care Bears and
oh my gosh.
And
I'm good, guys. I'm finished. I'm good. Whatever. It's done. Great. If you liked it, cool. If you didn't, also totally fine. So
coffee. I'm just listing all the things I've seen that are like Wicked themed.
Everything that you could possibly think of. Yeah. Everything has been a collab. Yeah. So anyway, as usual, you can feel free to check out everything we have going on over on the website. If you want to read some reviews, if you want to look for recommendations, other stuff, at fullybooked.ca, where our lovely team of contributors work very hard to provide people with, like, new stuff on a regular basis.
Indeed.
You can also, of course, follow us on all of our socials. So Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky. We're at fullybookedca. But until next week, guys, keep on reading.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.